What is up, all my diecast friends? It's Mark McHotwheel here. It's been a hot minute since I've done a podcast on my own Dotson Diecast podcast here. So just checking in with you guys. Basically, what today is about is Diecast Day of Giving, because we're getting there. We're approaching. We're a little less than a month away now. So I'll be starting to log numbers on the website drivendreams.org soon. I'll probably, as soon as we get into October, I'm going to be asking people to, if they've donated so far or they're about to donate, to let me know what the number is, and we're going to start logging the total tallies. And we've got to hit it hard because 20,000 car goal this year. And so I'll be checking in with some people worldwide to see if they've donated yet or if they've got an idea of how many cars they're going to donate. I know that Yogi from Jakarta Diecast Project sold his Unicorn custom for a pretty penny, and he is going to be donating that he's going to turn those into diecast cars and donate those locally in Indonesia and Jakarta. So I'll be interested to see how many he comes up with there. I mean, I would assume it's going to be at least 1,000 cars or somewhere around there, 1,300, somewhere around there, because I know that that was an expensive custom. Very, very, very appreciative of that. What a kind, selfless thing to do. So he could have sold that for just a lot of money and pocketed the money, but he donated it in to work with Driven Dreams and Diecast Day of Giving for this year's goal. So we love you, Yogi. Can't speak this morning, but yeah. So this year is going to be a big year. Hopefully, twice as big as last year. We did a little over, just a little over 10,000 cars last year. We're given worldwide, and I think a lot of it was in the U.S., but we had some people in Canada and probably over Switzerland and Andrew over there and stuff like that. But this year we're gonna be reaching a lot further. We've got Indonesia, we've got several people over there, and we've got people in, again, Canada, Switzerland, I think the Philippines. So it's gonna be a bigger reach, and I'm really excited about that, to see this number grow each year to where it's a annual thing where we get cars to sick and less fortunate kids, and then it goes to them during this holiday season. Because if you can, a lot of us, some of us can put ourselves in the kids' places where their parents don't have enough money to afford to buy them toys or much, or you've got kids in the hospital fighting large battles, big battles, and they feel, some kids feel defeated, and like they may not even have a family. And not only here in the US, with places like Seattle Children's Hospital, but we've got third world countries where there's none of that. So the more we can spread the word for something like this is the reason that I started what was called Hot Wheels for Hope and is now Driven Dreams. The reason I started back in 2019 is because, because God told me to, and I knew it would be a big thing, because there's really no option for failure in something when God tells you to do something. So so we started at 2019, and I think we had people send us cars to my house, and I think it was somewhere around 4,700 cars. I always forget. Physical cars were sent to my house, and I was inundated with cars, and it was an exciting thing, and it's a great thing for humanity that diecast collectors are so willing to send some of their collection, some of their extras, go out and buy stuff for these kids, and to take the time out of their days and their month and their pocketbook to send me that stuff that first year. The second year we did a little bit differently because yeah, it just became a little bit crazy with all the shipping costs, and especially right now, shipping is so expensive. It's crazy, and I think we all know that because you buy something online, or you're doing online trading or something with some other collectors, and you just like you go, really, $20 to ship this, like 3 cars, so shipping's crazy now. So the second year we did Driven Dreams, or Hot Wheels for Hope, the Diecast Day of Giving. It was a little different. We had everyone donate locally, and then would tally up the numbers. So that's how we're doing it from here on. It may get tweaked over the years. I don't know, but that's the easiest thing to do. Keeps my house from getting inundated with cars to the brim. It'll fill it up. I mean, gosh, if we do 20,000 cars this year, I can't imagine having 20,000 cars at my house or wherever. It's a lot of cars. So the biggest thing is to help your own community, like wherever you are at in the world, to be able to go and help your local community and make a difference there. So it's a really important thing that if you can give, that you do it this year. That you It's a time to put yourself aside. Um, just during like the holiday season, and to think about where these kids are at, and they don't have much, or they're struggling with diseases and illnesses, and like I said, they're fighting big battles, and they're not very old. They're not old enough to understand why. And sometimes it's hard for us as adults to understand why that kind of thing happens. So it's time to get into your collection. If you've got a large collection, if you have extra cars, if you've got doubles, if you've got duplicates, if you got cars that you think you're going to do something with someday, that some people hold on to cars, think they're going to be, really valuable someday. I highly encourage you to not hoard those cars and to give them away to kids. And so I just encourage everyone today that listens to this, and anyone that listens to it, I encourage you to share this podcast with another diecast collector, because this isn't going to make a big impact with the numbers if this event is not shared with people that have diecast cars, that are collectors. If you take a second to think about how many diecast collectors there are in the world, millions, and if we can get the word out to each one of them, and everyone donates one car to the cause every year, that's millions of cars donated. It's crazy, and it's doable. But I need your guys' help. I need people to share this message. I need people to share the event. It really just takes a couple clicks to do that. Whether you share it on Facebook, we have a Facebook account, Driven Dreams org. And then, I've got stuff on Dotson Man, and we've got stuff on the Diecast Media Network. So there's 1,000 different ways to share it with your friends, with your family. This is not only for diecast collectors by any means. It makes a huge impact because so many of us have extra cars. We have stuff to give. We know what kids like and all that stuff too. But your family members, your aunt, your uncle, your sister, like during this time, I, highly encourage you to be an advocate for Diecast Day of Givings, for Driven Dreams, and round up cars by yourself and tell people about the event. Say, hey, I'm gathering some cars to bring down to Salvation Army, to Samaritan's Purse, to local hospitals, to fire stations, food banks, shelters. Just there's so many places to drop cars off at. And if you yourself take some initiative, and because you can make a huge difference, just you. And a lot of people say, I can't make much of a difference. I don't have any cars to give. Well, round some up. I mean, yesterday we had an event at our shop called Diecast and Donuts. My wife came up with that, Kimber, and we had a bunch of cars in the community come and hang out, donuts, coffee, just to hang out. We did a raffle too for some automotive detailing products, like a wash kit, and we raised over 700 cars in one single day. So if you can raise 7 cars or 70 cars, or maybe raise 700 cars like the community did here, the car community, then if you take those numbers and you take into the account of hundreds of thousands of collectors just in the US, that's a lot of cars to kids, So if you have any questions ever, if you want to reach out and email me and say, hey, what can I do, Mark? What can I do to make a difference? Email me at info@drivendreams.org or message me on Facebook or Instagram. There's a lot of different ways to get a hold of me, and it's a priority for me. It's something that's a big part of my life is doing this. So if anyone wants to help out and become like an advocate in their area, then just reach out and say, hey, what can I do? What can we do to make an impact that will, span across the world, every year? And this is not something that I just do or we should do once a year. It's something that I'm always interested in, collecting cars and getting things together so I can consistently drop these cars off at food banks, at shelters, at hospitals, fire stations. Someone's house just burned down. A couple kids live there. They've got nothing. Firewoman can hand these kids some cars, and they can have something just to hold on to. One thing that rang really true with me this year was with a movie that I watched that I'd been wanting to see, and it's man, I just forgot the name of the movie. No, I gotta look it up here real quick. Oh, okay, Sound of Freedom, I believe. So it's about child trafficking, which nobody wants to talk about. But we'll talk about it today a little bit. But just a small piece of that movie. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to see it. And I'm going to tell you a tiny piece of the movie, and I'm going to spoil it for you. It's not going to spoil it, but so there's a little boy that had been trafficked, and they got him out, and that's not even a real part of the real story to this. Is what I found out later on. But this little boy is gripping on to he's sorry, he's gripping onto a diecast car, and that's all he has. That's all he has is a diecast car. He's holding onto it so tight. But he's got that sense of assurance that he's got that little car with him. He's gripping onto it, and wow, that really hit me hard. And it just put I'm sorry, put fire in my belly and in my heart to push forward this year and get as many cars as possible for these kids that are coming out of stuff like that, sex trafficking, and kids that are coming out of situations where there's abuse in the family, and kids that are coming out of cancer. kids that are battling cancer, kids that don't have much. Their parents can't buy them any toys this year. It just, man, it's just, you can make a huge difference this year. I'm passionate about this, guys. And complacency is not something that we need to do this year. If you're listening to this, or if anyone's hearing this, there's zero excuse for complacency and just worrying about. The reason I started doing this is because there's always people saying there's someone else will do that. Someone else is doing that. Well, guess what? They're not. And we need to do it. And we need to get together and raise as many cars as possible. And I encourage you to get some fire in your heart, in your belly, and rise up and raise some cars for these kids. And there's no room for any kind, with this event, with this thing that we do, there's no room for any kind of drama or any kind of bickering or any kind of finger pointing or anything like that, because number one is the kids. Number two is the kids. Number three is the kids. There's no us in this, not at all. So it's very important that we remember that there's no room for any of that stuff. If you're raising cars, if you're throwing an event, if anyone's raising any questions on what's happening with the cars, or they're trying to start any kind of drama, just squash that. I don't have any time for that personally. When it comes to like raising cars for kids or any kind of, that's why we're in the process of making drivendreams.org a full nonprofit. So if I do start touching money, that it's all accounted for and that there's never any finger pointing. So that's why we're working towards that. And yeah, so hopefully that happens within this next year. It's kind of a tough process starting a nonprofit, way more so than starting a business. So so yeah, I think you guys know where I'm at. I'd love to know where you guys are at in the comments, or if you want to message me. Like I said, if you want to help this year, I'd love help anywhere across the world. Reach out. If you have somebody that that could donate a bunch of cars, organizations that could donate cars or anything. The biggest thing you guys can do this year, if you don't donate one car, is spreading the word. And then we're going to get to certain people's ears that are going to be able to help and make this number grow, and to be able to help more kids every year. Because like I said, there's zero room for complacency this year or next year. We need to spread the word. We need to do all that we can for these kids, period. I would just like to take a second, and thank the people that came out and donated cars yesterday at the Diecast and Donuts event for Auto Peak Detailing, my company that I run. There were a ton of people that came out. And when I say a ton, I don't really mean a ton. There's a lot of cars given for maybe just a couple handfuls of people. And I want to shout out a special person. Jerome came out. He had a large collection. I think he had bought some of it from somebody that was getting out of diecast, but he donated 372 cars of his own. 372 cars of his own were donated yesterday. Amazing. I was blown away. I stumbled backwards when he started unload. He said, I got to go get my cars on my trunk and my back seat and my whole car. His whole car was stuffed with diecast. And Jerome did a very selfless thing. He could sell all those cars. He could make a lot of money. I guesstimate well over $1,500 worth of cars there. Just quick estimation. So Jerome, you rock, man. And that was an amazing thing that you did. And yeah, people were watching, and people it was an amazing thing that you did. So you rock, Jerome. I'll try to do something cool for you. You deserve it 100%. And that was an amazing event, and we'll try to do another one before October 14th. That is the Diecast Day of Giving cutoff. Yeah, so I had seen some comments online a couple of times about, well, it's not, if you start logging numbers early, then it's not a day of giving. And, yeah, that's true, but who cares? Just an FYI for everyone, if you can only bring cars to a place a week beforehand or 2 weeks beforehand, just let me know the number. It's designed for a main day that everyone gives it, but we all have busy lives. We can't all go give on that day. So again, there's no room for bickering about that kind of stuff too either. It's irrelevant. So I hope that this year can be huge and that we can focus number one on the kids and only the kids, and to not puff ourselves up or say, look at me, look how many I donated, because that's not what's important. So it's going to be a big year, and I need you guys' help, everybody's help. So let's see here. I don't have too much to cover today, but so we have a 20,000 car goal this year. Within the next couple years, ideally, I'd like to be at like 200,000 cars donated within, the Diecast Day of Giving. So within a couple weeks of that day, I'd like to see a couple hundred cars or a couple 100,000 cars donated, because I think that's completely doable. Like I said before, there's millions of diecast collectors in the world, and if everyone donates one car, that's millions of cars donated, and you can make a large impact in your community just donating 10, 20, 30 cars to a food bank. Every time those kids come in they don't want to be there. It can be embarrassing for some people to ask for help, but the people working there, the people that are giving their time, the heroes out there, because that's what they are. They get the opportunity to hand these cars out to kids, and no one needs to know where they're from, because it doesn't matter. And our job is to get cars to kids, period, to help them fight their battles, whatever they may be. So get your cars together this year, people. See what you got. See if you have any extra cars. See if you have duplicates. Eventually, I'll be coming up with a system for loose cars. And the biggest thing that I want people to realize is, like, I want the new cars donated because of, like, they're going to kids in hospitals. So I don't want cars that have been touched a million times and stuff like that. It's just cleaner that way. But I will be coming up with a system for loose cars, and we'll be doing something with those, because they serve a purpose as well for kids. So I'll be this next year, I'll be trying to think of some different ways to do things. And if you guys have any ideas, I'm all open ears. This is a team thing. It's everyone has their own strong suits. Whether it be designing logos, websites, logistics, all kinds of different stuff. Custom cars. I'd love to do more stuff with custom cars for auctions and raise money that way. We can get custom cars to kids that are into diecast. The further reach that I can get, if I can get in touch with different organizations that know the kids that love cars, that are having battles, that we can get specific custom cars to that kid, then that would be incredible. So yeah. So the more we can spread this event, spread the organization, the further reach that we have across the world. So it's a pretty amazing thing. Excuse me. So yeah, I encourage everybody to take, if you can host a little event, if people can host trade events or any diecast events, I encourage you guys, if you have a group of buddies that collect, to host your own little meet and raise some cars up for Diecast Day of Giving. It's not hard to do. We put a event together just by just using Facebook. You can use Instagram. You can use you can just put people in a group text. Just number one thing is just to try, you know. People fail all the time. I've failed many times in my life, but just keep trying, you know. And it's the effort, you know, that won't be unnoticed. You know, I think you can do it. So if you've got extra cars or extra time, you know, you can put them to use. And even the extra time is just sharing, you know, sharing this event with everybody you know, whether they like diecast or not. Not to worry about. I never worry about people like, oh, that guy's spamming me with this, or what is this Diecast Day of Giving? I don't care. I'm sharing it with everyone I know. I don't care what they think of me. I want everyone to know about it, and I want to find the people that want to help. I found neighbors in my area that have dropped off a bunch of cars that are excited about it, and they don't collect diecast, but they want to help kids. So I think you guys know where I'm coming from. I don't really think I need to say anything more. Just do your part, you know. I just thank you in advance. So I hope everyone's doing really well. I hope everyone's finding a healthy balance with their collection. You know, it gets tough sometimes, but just remember they're just cars. You can't take them with you. It's a fun hobby. It's great, you know, whether you know, do hunting every day or you modify the cars or whatever you're into. It's a great hobby, but the hobby you know, full-size cars to me is about the people and not about the cars. So I'm always interested in the people behind the you know, the collectors that are collecting or modifying. I've always liked to hear their stories and meet the people, because you know, people can be rude and nasty, but people can be so kind and giving and selfless, and those are the people that make the world go round, you know. And yeah, it's pretty amazing to see everyone get together for this event and see how many cars we can get donated this year. And so again, shoot me an email at info@drivendreams.org if you have any questions, or if you've donated cars already, or you're about to go drop them off. I'm going to start like I said, I'm going to, on the website for Driven Dreams, I'm going to start the tally. I'm going to start adding everything up. I have a spreadsheet, and I'm going to be writing everybody's names and amount donated down. So it's going to be a big year, guys. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Get excited about this, because whatever you got going on in your own life right now, whether it's good or bad, this is something to take focus off of that, and help kids. It's a selfless time of year, is what I call it. So it's getting into the holiday season. The weather's going to shift around here. It's going to get real nasty, but I'm excited for it. So I love you guys. I love everyone listening. I appreciate your support, and let's get out there and do it this year. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next podcast. And you know, I'm seeing a lot of downloads on this podcast, and it may get changed into Driven Dreams podcast. We'll see. We'll don't know what it holds, but appreciate you checking out the Diecast Breakdown too. We'll be on live today with Eddie Castro of Masto and Muscle Machines and Barago, and we'll be doing our Masto build off the results on who had the best custom. So I'll see you guys there. Peace.